There she is. Matt's on it. Hey, look at that. Look familiar? Recognize that episode? Oh, hi. It's been a while. Okay, so look at this. Look what we got behind me here. This is a carbon Trek Slash. And if it looks familiar, because it looks like my carbon Trek Slash, except this one isn't stolen. I had my other bike stolen in Canada last summer, ordered up this new one, finally came in. I'll link a description of the other bike, has all the specs you could ever want, so I'm not going to bore you with a complete walkthrough of the new rig. But I did want to cover like two things with you guys. Primarily this video is going to be about ride wrap, but before I do that, just one little difference. There's one difference on this bike compared to the other one, and that is this little bad boy right here. These have been around for a while now, but this is a product from SRAM, and it is called an Axis wireless derailleur. So this has a little motor in it, and inside this whole compartment here is a battery, and you charge it about, for me, roughly once a month, and you can see no wires. And so up here, you can control your shifting with a little wireless thumb shifter. So down is easy, up is hard. That is essentially the only difference on this bike from the last one. And I think it's an absolutely magnificent shifting system. It's crisp, it's quick, it's quiet, no cable stretch. Really nice addition to the bike. So we get everything we got in my last carbon rig, except in my opinion, it's a little better. Okay, so back on to the primary star of this video here. By way of story, there is no bigger bummer than getting your bike back from, say, the bike shop, and there's a nice blue smudge right on the down tube, right? Like where it's been ground into some other bike. And, yeah, that didn't happen to me. Last year, I did not wrap my other bike for reasons. Fred's going to give you a walkthrough on what happened when he had his wrapped and what the feedback has been. But this year I did. So what we did is we took the bike up to RPM Scottsdale. You may remember their name as the folks that also do the ceramic coating on the Airstream. And they also do PPF, so that's a paint protection film. Many of you know that you can buy kits of PPF, and you can apply it yourself to your bike. And what PPF is, it's a plastic film with a bit of an adhesive on it, and you can cover portions of your bike with this film. Originally intended for automotive purposes, it's now used for many things, including bikes, trailers, motorcycles, cars. RPM specializes in doing PPF, and I asked them about wrapping my rig since they had already done Fred's. We know it's possible. And so Matt, the owner-operator there, did so. So I'll show you some pretty cool footage of the process. But what we decided to do on this wrap was we went crazy. we did the whole bike, whole thing. So one thing I've never understood about mountain bikes and about Trek is like, yeah, it comes with a little bit of armor, right? Like teeny little bit here, fine. We armored this whole bike. So Matt put protective film on the shocks, on the lowers. He put it on the down tube, top tube. We've got it even on the frickin' rockers here. We even have it on the rear triangle. And so portions of the bike that I asked Matt to concentrate on, like this was a bit of an experiment. Matt didn't really know how this was going to come out either, but one of the things that makes me crazy when I'm riding on a brand new carbon bike is these wheels are notorious, especially here in Arizona with this decomposed granite, for picking up a rock and then pulling it through the dropout and then going chick, 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 and just carving out a nice line right through the paint, right? So he put an extra super thick layer PPF all around this area here. Also, here's our famous rub through point on the Treks where you have the brake cable rubbing on the rear triangle here. And so he's put in an extra thick layer of PPF here also. He tried to get the top tube here and the front area and the emblem in one go, so I'll show you some video of that. And then watching Matt do this, you know, again, it's always a pleasure to watch professionals go to work, and watching Matt was really something. He uses a combination of kind of skill, stretching, hot water, and then occasionally heat guns. And so, you know, he used a heat gun to kind of form the PPF here right down into all the seams. And then what we did is we had a little bit of a conversation about what portions of the wrap that we felt would be sacrificial. In other words, portions of the wrap that I knew we would probably have to redo multiple times over the lifetime of the bike. Specifically, that's the top tube area for me. I have a Night Rider light with a battery that mounts up right on the top tube here, and the mounting straps, they can tend to eat through the paint, and so this whole section of wrap is designed to be sacrificial so we can replace it over time. And then finally, you know, the objective for me was not to wind up with a bike that you couldn't tell had been wrapped. The objective for me was you know, most of the damage that my bike picks up, I would argue easily 95% of the damage comes from transport and auxiliary things like leaving the bike at an unfamiliar bike shop. So my plan was to prevent those kinds of casual damages. You know, obviously when you come up to the bike and you inspect it, you can tell it's wrapped, but it's tasteful, and this should protect this bike for the entire lifetime of this rig. So also an interesting little fact, this stuff does have anti-static properties, and it has a little bit of ceramic built in too, so it's a little bit scratch resistant. And it does have, to a degree, I'll paste a link to the product, but it does also have some self-healing characteristics. So if you do get a little bit of a gash in it, there is some expectation that it can knit to a degree. So it should last me for the entire lifetime of this rig. Yeah, we also did the bars. So we'll see how this stands up, but I think it came out beautifully. All right, so here we are with another bike that has been wrapped at RPM Scottsdale. And Fred, so let's see, been about 2 years since you had this rig wrapped. I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about kind of how it stood up. This little guy over here has just been wrapped. Yours was wrapped 2 years ago. I think you have some observations, so yeah. What do you think?
So the wrap wasn't as complete as yours. So it was just on the main top tube here,
okay,
and then this lower tube, and on the seats, on the seat stays and the chain stays. But what I didn't wrap was like the one section right in here, where you can kind of see
it's become etched. Yep.
Yeah, with all the gravel and everything else in there. Like this section here, you can just tell.
Yep.
All of that.
Sure enough.
Scratched.
Sure enough. And then you were telling me earlier, we have a demonstration of how awesome it is to have the ride wrapped in PPF, because
this all here is damage from the handlebar with the bell coming in and scratching this at one point when I had lower handlebars.
Right, now they're higher, it doesn't happen.
Exactly, yeah, but you can tell it scratched the PPF, but not the frame itself. So this is just a scratched PPF. I tried to heat it to melt the self-healing, but it was too much of a gash to really self-heal that much. But
so the plan would be just to reapply
it or something, because it goes from basically from right here all the way down to here and on the backside. So all of this is really good. I also have it applied underneath here, so like underneath the logo here. And all of this, like, is a little dirty here, but it's all perfectly, just like if I were to remove it, it would look brand new.
It looks phenomenal. I mean, for 2 years of riding, you know, all over Colorado, Moab, all over Arizona, right?
Yep.
So, any problems with lifting or anything like that?
Nope.
No problems with lifting. Great.
Yeah, I think I have the one little corner right here where it lifted a little bit right here, but I just had a heat gun to it and it went back down again. So it doesn't look perfect, but...
Well, my take on that, you know, my personal theory is it's not to make the bike look not wrapped. No. It's to protect it, right? And so if you have a lifting corner, well, then replace it. Yeah. That's the whole idea, right?
And I might do that after maybe after the season. I'll probably go ahead and pull it and then replace it.
Gotcha. Do another one.
Yeah.
Okay. So summary judgment here. Was it worth it, and would you do it again?
Oh, definitely.
You would? Okay.
Now, whether I would do the full thing like what you have done, maybe not just another simple one again, but so far it's held up and and it looks good.
So full disclosure, obviously you get what you pay for. The time it took to wrap this bike was hours, plural, more than a full workday.
Yeah.
So my wrap cost was about $1,200 to $1,300, right? So
And this was just
this was top tube, right?
2-hour job.
2-hour job. So all right, right on. There we go. PPF on 2 separate carbon mountain bikes. One recently wrapped and one that was wrapped 2 years ago. And you have it from the first owner. It was worth it. See this? That's a Phoenix. Fred's wife made that for me. Why a Phoenix? Well, because this is iteration number 2 of this very bike, and it was a tremendous loss for me. And so the Phoenix was very emblematic of renewal and rebirth from the ashes of disaster. So it seemed utterly appropriate, and I think she crushed it. Look at that. Sick.